Hey, what's up everyone? In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to test S3 bucket tagging in AWS. So I'm in my AWS audit playbook and I've already navigated to the controls and then I'm down in the S3 tags section here. And in order to run this test, I'm going to need first a full list of all S3 buckets. And I get that by calling the list buckets command in bot03. So this returns a list of all S3 buckets in the AWS account. Here's the full request, and then it returns a response. I'll show you an example response here. So this is an example of that list buckets command. The first thing I want to point out is that we have a beautiful date timestamp in JSON. So you don't need to get the perfect screenshot with the date timestamp in the top right corner. And then the next thing I want to show you is that the list of all the buckets. So you can see this square bracket here is the start of the list of all the buckets, and then this is the end. And then each of these curly brackets here are the information for one specific bucket. So you can see here that I have 3 buckets. It will tell you when they were created even. So you can see those 3 buckets, AWS CloudTrail logs, the bad bucket 54321, and the IT audit guide bucket. So those are the 3 buckets, and it's a complete list of all S3 buckets. The next thing we're going to need for this test is all the tags applied to each individual buckets. So to get that information, we're going to call the get bucket tagging command, and along with the bucket name and the AWS account ID. So that will get all of the buckets attached to that S3 or applied to that S3 bucket. So I'll show you a real example here. So if I go into my buckets folder and I just look at this CloudTrail and then look at the bucket tags.json, you can see this is another live example, another beautiful date timestamp. And then you can see that this bucket has 2 tags attached. And again, you have the square bracket of all the tags and then each individual tag with a key and a value pair. AWS has a really strong tagging opportunities there. So you can see those 2 tags are the owner with the engineer. This bucket is owned by engineering. And the description or purpose of this bucket is that this one stores CloudTrail logs for the AWS account. So pretty simple of what that one's applied to. So next I want to kind of jump into the work paper to show you what testing we're doing for this. So I'll just kind of walk through this. You have the list buckets to get the list of all S3 buckets. And then for each bucket, we called that get bucket tagging. And then we compared it to the data classification policy or some kind of policy where it states what the requirements are for tagging and classifying resources. So for this work paper, I said the 3 required tags are owner, description, and classification. So if we go back here to this is the CloudTrail logs bucket, you see that this one only has 2 tags, the owner and the description. It does not have that classification tag, and it's missing from the return the evidence here. So we failed or marked as an exception that bucket because it did not comply with our policy. So I'll show you one other example of a bucket that passed here. So if I go to the IT audit guy bucket, I go to the bucket tags, you can see that one had all 3. So it had an owner, it had a description, it had a classification, and that obviously got all passed down into this folder. I think I might have nope, yeah, that's the IT audit guy website right there. So that kind of walks you through how I did that test. Again, we have the 3 buckets from the list buckets command, and then for each individual bucket, we were checking whether it had an owner, description, and classification. Yeah, that's how you test S3 tags. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Thanks all for watching and happy auditing.